peanut butter and jelly, rice and beans, chocolate and milk. You get some of the best things when you mix stuff together. So what happens when you take two of the coolest things and mash them together? Well, you'll get something like Star Wars Visions. I cannot tell you how long I've wanted something like this. Ever since I first started watching anime, I always thought that Star Wars would be the perfect fit. I mean, it was one of the closest things we had to it and was actually the reason I started watching. I went from Clone Wars and searched for similar stories with action and adventure over longer periods of time, and well, I ended up finding Naruto. And from there, well, it's history. That will was ramped up even more when I saw those fan-made intros titled If Star Wars Was an Anime. My want for this to be reality could not be higher, yet I had to realize that it probably would never happen. But never tell me the odds, cause when I saw the promo for Star Wars Visions, I was hyped, like out of my mind hyped. But then it was back to the waiting game for this show to be released, and from there my will dwindled once more, but I made sure to myself that when it did come out, I would watch it under prime conditions, allocate the appropriate time, no distractions, the like. And well, I don't know about you, but life is pretty hectic. And prime conditions were sort of a stretch, so I kind of put off watching this show for way longer than I would have liked. But my optimal conditions recently came in the form of a road trip, and what better way to watch a show than with literally no distractions crossing a desert? And obviously, where else would we start except the story? Star Wars Visions is an adventure sci-fi anthology series going around the Star Wars universe through the lenses of a bunch of different animation studios, some of which brought you some of your favorite shows like Attack on Titan, Devilman Crybaby, Made in the Abyss, JoJo, Fooly Cooly, Great Pretender, hell, that's just to name a few. And these studios were given complete freedom with their ideas of Star Wars, and with just a little guidance from Lucasfilm, they gave us this. First of all, I am a sucker for anthology series. I love these self-contained stories with each being so drastic from one another. It allows you to see so many different worlds, characters, and just so much of this universe. Some of my favorite shows have been anthology series like Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy, so it's no surprise that almost every episode was fresh and unique, telling their own stories. It really kept you engaged for the most part. You never know what planet you'll end up on, or who you'll follow, or what the story will even be. Although, I won't lie, the thing with anthology series is that all the episodes may be hit or miss, and that's kind of up to you. See, for me, almost everything was a hit to a certain extent. I definitely like some more than others, personal favorites being the duel TOB1 and Akakiri, and while none were super big misses, I would be lying if I said I liked Tatooine Rhapsody. Definitely a really weak link in this show. Other than that though, I thought all the episodes were really good in their own right, and each person will probably have a different favorite episode, and what makes them even better are the fights. The fights in this show are no joke, like they go crazy, and the best thing about them is they happen like every episode, sometimes multiple times an episode. You can always count on this show to deliver in action. These elaborate long-standing whooshes of lightsabers and the whizzing of blaster fire, some of the best fights I've ever seen in Star Wars come from this show. They are so imaginative in a way that you rarely see in the movies, and part of that is due to the animation. The animation medium is able to really push what you can show. It allows the animators to do things unbound by the limitations of real life, or even animation that imitates reality. It turns these duels that were already spectacles before and transforms them into an entirely new experience. With these incredible visuals, the fights are elevated to these spectacular heights, with me audibly and visually responding through stifled yelling and giddy conversation to anyone who would hear it. But the fights aren't the only thing that is elevated by the animation. These worlds, characters, and even stories to a certain extent are supported by these visuals, allowing for some truly beautiful shots and scenes. Like, this show has some pretty incredible animation, and what makes it even better is the audio that accompanies it. The audio in this show is really good as well. From the music to even the sounds are insanely well put together. There were times when I had to step back and remind myself that this was all created and wasn't actually a real world. I mean, Star Wars is known for its immersion, and it does not make an exception here. From the rustling of the wind on the environment, from the blaster fire to the sounds of the lightsabers, it sounded really good. It's an odd thing to appreciate, but I believe it deserves the recognition, and there were times when the audio would mix in with the visuals, like, man, it's so good. Overall, this show is a dream come true. I had always wanted something like this, and combining two of my favorite things is a recipe for something truly special. Throughout the entire show, I had a good time, and almost all the episodes were hits. So I give Star Wars Visions a 8 out of 10. The show is really solid. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments of your own, make sure to leave them down below. Trust me, I read them. Also, look at this graph. Okay, but as always, stay awesome. TooAwesome, thanks for watching.